Hi and welcome to the Northern Magpie. My name is Karen and today I'm going to tell you about all the things that I crocheted in my very first month of crocheting. This is the very first project that I crocheted, and this is a small pocket dragon. He's not actually that small. The t-shirt yarn that I used made him pretty big. As you can see, he is very crooked. This is a pattern by Serendipity Designs. I'll have the links to all the patterns in the description. So that was the very first thing I did, and then I made the pocket dragon again, and this is the other one that I did, and it's a little bit thinner yarn, so as you can see there's a big difference in size. This one was made with a t-shirt yarn that I got just on Amazon, and it was probably the best thing for me to start with just because it doesn't split at all. So learning how to do the crochet stitches with a t-shirt yarn is actually a really good way to do it, just because you don't have to worry about the splitting and your hook goes where you want it to go. This actually was a very easy yarn to work with as well. I got this on Amazon and it's supposed to be a cashmere blend. Don't know if it actually is or not, but it is really soft. So the small pocket dragon by Serendipity Designs is actually a really good project to learn crochet, just because you've got two parts of the pattern. The front part here is actually done in amigurumi style, so it's done in a smaller hook. Pretty sure I used a 4mm hook for the head, but then you've also got the body, which is a modified granny square, and that one's done in a 5mm hook, so you get a feel of the different types of crochet stitches. The amigurumi, where you want it much tighter so you don't have any stuffing showing through, and then also the looser stitching of the granny square. The next item that I did, the next pattern that I did, was the Cycloom, Nicole Kolasinski. I hope I said that right. This pattern I found on Ravelry. It is a free pattern on Ravelry, and it was a great way to discover that I liked working with acrylic yarn. But also it was a great way to discover that I did not like working with Highland wool. The top here is Knit Picks Wool of the Andes, Peruvian Highland wool. I think that's what it's called. And it's actually really rough and made my fingers sore. So I know that I'm not going to be using wool again. This is actually also the first time I did any surface crochet. See if you can see that. As you can see, I did a terrible job of it. I really did not understand what I was supposed to be doing, and at that point I didn't understand how to see the stitches and work into the stitches. So it was a good learning experience for me. I'm the kind of person who is always kind of go big or go home. I don't tend to do things the easy way. So my fourth project was, I have to give you a little bit of a background on this. My husband really likes Dungeons and Dragons, and so we have played together over the years. When I wanted to do something for him for Valentine's, I ran across this pattern on Ravelry and I thought it was the perfect thing. So not exactly a beginner pattern. This is the Flying Eyeball Monster by, I'm just checking my notes, Crafty Tibbles. And it's actually supposed to have 7 small eyes, but 5 was kind of all I could handle. And I actually hand painted all of these eyes myself. I don't know if we can see, is it gonna focus? Anyways, I'll insert a picture. So it's really not a beginner-friendly pattern, but not to be deterred, I went ahead and did it anyways. And it was a great learning experience for me. I learned a lot doing this pattern. This was also a really amazing pattern. It was very well written, and for somebody who is a beginner like me, the written instructions were clear enough that I, as a beginner, never having done any of these sort of techniques before, was able to figure it out and was able to do it and do a not too bad job of it. This guy was made with Mary Maxim Starlet yarn, which is an acrylic, a worsted acrylic yarn. And while it worked very well, I wasn't really fond of it. I found it a little bit splitty, and it actually has a very plasticky kind of feel. It doesn't feel great in the hands. And you might think that this is kind of a weird Valentine's gift. It does have a second part. So this goes along with the flying eyeball monster, and it says, "I only have eyes for you." So this is my next project. This is the mushroom guy. Don't know if I can get I can't even get them all in the frame because he's so big. I made this with Bernat blanket yarn, and he was a lot of fun to make. I was actually inspired by another YouTuber that I saw that had made this pattern. That was Rachel at the Faded Wildflower Crochet. She made this pattern, and that was what made me decide that I really wanted to make the pattern too. I didn't actually paint the eyes for this one. These are just the straight glitter eyes. It was after doing these ones actually that I decided that I really wanted to spend more time making my own eyes. This is the mushroom guide. This is the pattern that apparently went viral by Critter Stitch Designs. So I added some extra mushroom spots on the top. This was my first experience with sewing on pieces like this, and some of them were not too bad, but some of them maybe not the best sewing job, and it was a good way for me to learn that I need to leave longer tails. I actually really enjoyed this pattern, and making this guy made me realize that maybe I wanted to go a little bigger with the amigurumi that I was making. So be warned, there are bigger amigurumi in my future. So the next things I made were a couple of patterns by Pawgy's Place on Etsy. And the first one was this little hippo, this little no-sew hippo. This was so much fun. And actually the first project that I was able to complete in one sitting. None of the other projects that I've done before this were either small enough that I could complete them in one sitting. Also, my lack of skill made it very difficult to crochet quickly and to get the other projects done in a short period of time. So this was actually very gratifying. And this is also the Bernat blanket. This is the same blanket yarn that I used for the mushroom guy. And this is the other pattern from Pawgy's Place, and this is the Little Duckies pattern. And this pattern drew me because it's actually a 25-in-1 pattern. The basic duck is the same for all of them, but then there are all kinds of different variations with different hats. Some of the ducks have hair, some of the ducks have sunglasses, or like have a little floaty or that kind of thing. And so I'm really tempted to do some sort of a challenge where I make a duck a day for 30 days. There's only 25 in the pattern, but I'm sure I can figure out a couple more to go along with it, because this little guy's just so much fun. And this is also Bernat blanket. And my last completed pattern is a free pattern by Green Frog Crochet, and this is the little magpie. This is actually supposed to be the magpie from K-pop Demon Hunters. I have to admit, I haven't seen K-pop Demon Hunters yet. I'm beginning to think that maybe I need to watch it just so I know what's going on and I understand the references. But I only used one set of eyes just because I wanted to make just a regular magpie. And this was made with just chenille yarn from the Dollar Tree. I was quite surprised to see yarn at a dollar store, and I decided that I wanted to give it a try, and I was actually very pleasantly surprised. As someone who has never worked with chenille yarn before, I mean, I've worked with blanket yarn, Bernat blanket, but this was my first time working with chenille yarn, and other than being very sheddy on the ends and being a little fragile for the magic ring, it worked up really well, and the pattern was really well written. I was able to follow along, and while it has its flaws, like I'm not quite sure what's going on with the tail here. It's kind of curling around and it's not exactly even. I'm really happy with how it turned out. So there's a magpie for my channel. So that's it for everything that I've completed. I have several projects that are still in progress, and I'll just show you how those are coming along. So this is the Kraken by Crafty Intentions, and this is from the book Creatures of Myth and Legend. I believe that is the name of the book. I'll have it in the description. This, I saw this yarn, and this is Red Heart Super Saver, Itty Bitty Stripes, I think it's called, and I fell in love with the colors, so I had to have it. I had to do something with it. And I had also decided that I wanted to do the Kraken in the book. And so I started, and I've heard a lot of different opinions about Red Heart Super Saver. Some people hate it, some people love it. I kind of understand where people are coming from. I mean, the colors are amazing. There's so many colors. It's just mind-blowing. But it's a pretty rough yarn, and when it's crocheted up like this, it's kind of like a Brillo pad. And it does make your finger sore going over when the yarn's traveling over your finger. So it's not the greatest experience. It doesn't split, which is nice, but it's not the greatest experience to crochet with. But I mean, look at the colors. The colors make it worth it. So this is the full top. You start up here, you crochet the top, and then you do all of the tentacles here. And then she's got two options for the bottom underneath. And you can either do just a simple bottom, which is basically just a flap that you crochet onto here, or you can do the advanced bottom, which has a million suckers. And me being me, I had to do the advanced bottom, which is why this is still a whip and not a completed project. So this is how far I've gotten with the bottom. This is also Red Heart Super Saver. This is the color Moonbeam, I believe. And as you can see, there's a lot of bobbles. And this is nowhere near all of the bobbles. Each one of these tentacles has bobbles all the way down each side of it. And then you crochet all around each of the tentacles again. So it's not a small project. It's a Kraken. It's gotta have its suckers. And part of the reason that this is taking me so long is because I find doing the baubles in worsted weight yarn with a 4mm hook, I find that I end up having very tight tension, and I find it very hard on my hands and my wrists. So I can only bobble for a little while before I need to take a break. So eventually it will get done, but right now, still a whip. Another whip that I've been working on for a couple of days is Taurus the Zodiac Spirit by Red Mills Crochet. I believe I said that right. Red Mills Crochet, yes. So I have the main pieces done. I mean, here is the body with the tail attached. There's the tail. The tail's quite long. And we've got the ears. And this is the head with, these are eyes that I painted. I don't know if you'll be able to see those. I'll take a picture. I'll take a close-up. This yarn is Sweet Snuggles Light from Michaels, and it is the softest yarn that I have ever worked with. But it is also the sheddiest yarn that I've ever worked with. After I've been crocheting a little while with this yarn, I've got fuzz like all over me, and especially if I'm wearing dark clothes, then there's just fuzz everywhere. It's also a challenge to make the magic ring with this yarn. I've discovered something that works for me though, is to make your ring, and then say you need to single crochet 8 into the magic ring. What I'll do is I'll single crochet about 4, and then I'll tighten up the ring most of the way, and then finish the other 4 and tighten it the rest of the way. And that seems to work fairly well. I've only broken the yarn once doing it that way, so fingers crossed it continues to work for me. This is also my first time doing a pattern with 4 limbs like this, and I found it really interesting the way the construction was, where the limbs and the tail were crocheted separately, and then as you're crocheting the body, you crochet the limbs right into the body. So it's a very nice secure attachment and no sewing afterwards. So my last whip is actually multiple pieces in one. There's an online sort of pet adoption game that I play called Pony Island. So this site has been around for 22 years now, and every year on the birthday of the site they have an art competition, and they give us a theme, and then you need to create some sort of a piece of art to represent that theme, and you can use digital art or you can use mixed media. I've always entered in the mixed media category, and I think this will be my 5th time entering the contest. This is the first year that I'm doing crochet, and what I am doing is a little scene. The theme this year was chaos, and there's sort of a running joke on the site that the raptors are always causing chaos and usually spreading glitter at the same time. So once I heard that the theme was chaos, I decided I wanted to do something with a raptor. So my idea is to have a crocheted raptor basically trying to steal the birthday cake while one of the ponies looks on in horror. So I've been working on the several different pieces, and so this is how far I've gotten with the raptor. This is the head of the raptor, and these eyes are hand painted. They're 30mm cabochons, glass cabochons, which I painted with metallic paints. And I've got the two paws done. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is I don't think I'm going to do the whole raptor because it would just be too big for this little scene that I'm trying to do. So what I'm thinking of doing is taking one of the legs and extending it a little bit further, and then kind of having him peeking out from under the table that the cake is on and reaching and one leg out sort of like this to grab the cake. So this is the raptor. The raptor pattern is Rory the Raptor by Marley Bird, and I'll have the pattern down below like the others. This is the cake so far. Not very impressive yet, but this is the base of the cake. I still need to add the icing and the decorations. The cake pattern is Crochet Birthday Cake by Cos Family on Etsy. And then the pony itself, I kind of played around with a couple of different patterns, but being as the theme is chaos, I wanted a pattern that would allow me to pose the pony somewhat and sort of create some drama and emotion. So this is the first pattern that I went with. It's the Pony by Crafty Intentions. And while the shaping is fabulous, I love the shaping on this pony, it's not posable. It's very stiff. It's, I mean, other than sort of raising up a leg or something like that, there's not really a whole lot of posability. The next pattern I tried was Haley the Horse by Snuggle Beans Crochet. And that is actually more of a, I think it's actually one of her sploot series where the pattern just kind of goes boop. I thought that maybe I could alter the pattern somewhat, add wire inside and make it a little bit more posable. So I went as far as making the head. This is the head with hand-painted eyes. And then I realized that it wasn't going to be posable in the way that I was hoping for. So the third pattern I tried, which for sure is the winner, is the Beloved Horse by Loop Loom Patterns. And these are the legs. As you can see, I'm missing one. There we go. 4 legs. As you can see, there's really nice shaping, and each leg has thick wire in it to allow for posability. So there's the back leg and the front leg. And this is the head so far. These are, I didn't actually have time to paint these eyes because I'm getting close to the deadline. So these are just plain glitter eyes. But I'm really happy with how things are coming out, and I think it's going to allow me to do what I'm looking for. So that's it right now for my projects. I have several more projects that are planned. One is another pattern by Crafty Intentions called a Standing Raven, and I'm actually going to be changing the colors of that into the colors of a black-billed magpie to represent my channel. I also have, there's another pattern by Crafty Intentions called the Porthole Tentacles, and I'm planning to do something with that for, I have to be careful so that he doesn't hear me, but possibly for my husband's birthday, which is in August. And my wedding anniversary is going to be coming up in June, and I have another plan for something to go along with the flying eyeball monster from earlier, and it's a gelatinous cube. So look out for those. So I think I'll wrap it up there. That's what I've done so far, what I'm working on, what my future plans are. If any of that interests you, I hope you'll subscribe. Give this video a like if you like it, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!